Hello and welcome to another Richard Head Longbows video. As you can see, over Christmas I spent too much time drinking the bottle that says drink me, and yeah, this is what's happened, which is ironic really, because I spent an awful lot of time eating the food that says eat me. So I'm hoping at some point I will get out of this predicament. Now, a fellow YouTuber and friend and customer of ours sent me a video asking about how to make a particular archery item. This is something I invite you to do as well. If there's something you want to know about, send me in a video and I will try and do a video response. Now, what this customer wanted to know is about flu-flus, or more to the point, making an affordable flu-flu. In fact, he made a joke about making them from parts from a pound shop. Now, I can't necessarily make them from parts from a pound shop, but I can show a more affordable way of making a flu-flu. For those of you wondering what the hell a flu-flu is, because I keep saying the word flu-flu, it's basically an arrow that doesn't go very far. It was something developed by the Turks and obviously other nations around the world who favoured distance shooting as their type of competition. Now, instead of practicing and shooting a really long way, having to go a long way to go and get your arrows, having arrows that don't go too far allowed you to practice that art of shooting an arrow a long way, but it not going a long way, and you not having to go a long way, and a long way. So, a flu-flu has lots of featherage at one end. That's the main way of doing it, and is often used now in reenactment battles with rubber blunts so that the arrows don't go too far or too fast and don't hurt people, or in public displays as we often use them now. Instead of putting lots of feathers at one end, there is one way of using one feather spirally bound, and that's the way I'm going to show you. It's the most affordable way as far as a number of feathers that you're going to use, and means you can use feathers that perhaps aren't good enough quality, have perhaps got some of the veins missing, that you wouldn't necessarily use for other types of arrows. So hopefully this works. This hutchie is for you. I hope it all makes sense. And rather bizarrely, I went to Co-op. Yeah, Co-op. And they've got their Easter eggs out. You complete bunch of cunts. I think the Eat Me has worked. Okay folks, here's a quick look at making a flu-flu. I've got a spare shaft here. You can use ones with plastic knocks, it really doesn't matter. This happens to be a spare one I've got. You'll need some glue, a knife, some electrical tape and a feather, and that's pretty much it. We're going to start by giving ourselves some area to work with this feather, some tabs, so to speak, top and bottom. Just by removing some of the feather with a sharp knife. Please be careful if you're using a knife. Give yourself a centimetre or so top and bottom, which we're going to use to tuck in underneath the tape. Now, to help you wind this around the arrow shaft, what I'm going to do is basically essentially break the spine. Now, I'm twisting between the fingers there. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can hold that a bit easier for you to see there. And I'm just pulling that round, just breaking the spine a little bit, not really breaking it, I'm just using that as a term, more sort of encouraging it to curl round. So I'm giving the whole feather a bit of an overall curl instead of it being straight. See, there we go. Okay, now we are going to need to cut our electrical tape down the middle. We only need approximately a centimetre or so. So we're going to cut down there, like so. There we go. Cut off probably, what's that, 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches, something like that, and cut it off along there. There we go, and we've got a strip there that we can tear off. If I can get it off. There we go. That's our first strip. We'll put that to one side over here. I'm just going to stick that on the wall just so I can grab that later. And our second one. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to put a dot of glue at the beginning of our feather. There we go. That's just to get us started. Now we're going to take our arrow shaft and our first bit of tape. Obviously position this where you'd like it to be. Again, I'll try and position this on the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put that over our tab that we made and hold that down with my thumb. In my other hand, I'm going to try and reach around, and I'm going to put quite a lot of pressure on. So I need to hold this quite carefully because this has got to hold the feather tight. And again, I'm going to pull that round as hard as I can and around the top. There we go. Hopefully you can see this. Trying to film this on my own is never easy. Okay, so that'll hopefully hold that in place. It'll hopefully hold it in place. Now, next part, we need to glue along the rest of it. Now, the reason I didn't put that on to begin with, because I've been fiddling with the feather and all the glue will come off my hand, and we'll end up wiping all the glue off the feather and get it into the main parts of the feather, and it'll look awful. So that's now got a load of glue along it. Now it's a simple case of binding this around, much the same way that you might bind a normal arrow with binding through the feathers. Now you notice I'm holding on to the top of that notch that we put on there, so I don't pull it out of the tape. Once we've done a few turns around, that should start to hold itself, which it is now. Depth wise, distance between, it's entirely up to you. I turned to about an inch and a half, centimetre and a half, forgive me, as you can see there. Okay, now we've got to the end there. Again, hold that with the thumb, get our other piece of tape off the wall, and again, same process, placing that on, holding the thumb, stretching that round as hard as we can around there to hold that tight. And again, I'm holding the other end with my finger and I'm pulling that round tight as I can, and that should hold that in place. There we go, that's that held in place top and bottom now. Now to finish that off, what I tend to do is put a dot of glue along the line at the end of the tape, top and bottom. There. Now, really you should do this once it's dry, but I'll do this for you now. Get a brush, any brush you like. Just gently, this is just a wire brush that I use for cleaning tools actually. There we are, that opens up perfectly. As you can see, that will slow down in flight as it catches an awful lot of air. There you are folks, I hope that makes sense. Obviously put that somewhere safe, leave it to dry.